Hey, folks, welcome back to the Workplace Innovator podcast. It's me, your host, Mike P., with another new guest talking about a very important topic, something we've discussed on this program time and again, the human side of the built environment, the people who occupy our places and spaces, the teams that you lead. They all are requiring us to have a higher level of emotional intelligence than ever before. So I went out and found someone who really knows this topic. He is a best-selling author and the CEO and co-founder of an organization called 6 Seconds EQ Network, I believe. And he's joining us from beautiful California. Everybody, please say hello to Joshua Freedman. Joshua, thanks for being on the Workplace Innovator podcast.
It's great to be here, and let's get some workplace innovation happening.
I love it. I love it. Freedom, California. Where is that, Joshua?
Just south of Santa Cruz, so on the Central Coast, a couple minutes from the beach. It's terrible.
Oh, we're releasing this podcast probably at the tail end of winter when people are still struggling with the cold temperatures. It's been a tough 2026 season, and you're out there living the dream in Southern California.
It's the time of year that California property taxes seem very reasonable.
It's all worth it. It's all worth
it. The only time of the year.
I got you. Yeah, they're high. They're high, I imagine. Well, we've got both coasts represented. I'm here in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. My audience is global, so I know your network is global. Tell everybody a little bit more about 6 Seconds and what is it you do to help improve the emotional intelligence of people?
Well, we started in 1997, really trying to answer the question that you just asked. How do you actually do this? And we started working with a variety of organizations and trying to figure that out. And over the last 30 years, we've worked with people in every single country and territory, so many sectors and spaces that I didn't even know existed. But everywhere that there are people, there are emotions. And I think the worst advice that I ever got was, oh, just leave emotions out of it and make better decisions. And I have come to see that is not how people actually work. And so what we do is we help people measure these skills, grow these skills, bring them to scale in their organizations, use them in their day-to-day, figure out what the heck these crazy emotions actually mean and how we harness them.
I love it. I love it. It's so relevant, Joshua, to the challenges and struggles facing my audience of facility management and corporate real estate and workplace leaders. They're all trying to care for the people in this physical built environment, and their team requires a certain type of leadership. We all need to understand human behavior, especially here in 2026, after what we've been through the last 5 years. We've really become aware that, we're all different. We all have a different set of needs and personality types, and not everybody can be stuck into a cookie cutter setting and expected to prosper and thrive. So I'm all about bringing people like you on who can really help my audience better serve their organization and their team and themselves. We all are looking to upskill and grow, and EQ is one of those areas that I always tell my audience to focus on, because with the introduction of AI in our world these last several years and the future of the workplace, who knows what the impact of that will be. And it's certainly something we need to pay attention to. But I think that human element, the understanding the emotional side of things, is where we thrive. Would you agree with me on that?
Absolutely. I'd say that we're in accelerating complexity. It's not going backwards. We might wish some days we could, but we're in it. And we have to figure out how we adapt to this pace of change and get ready for the faster pace of change that's coming tomorrow. And fundamentally, that's not a question that's about a system or a structure or a piece of equipment or tech. It's really about how do we process, how do we engage, how do we connect, how do we build trust, How do we bring people on board with the change? And I'm sure every person who's listening has had the experience of a really great plan, really figured out all the details, and then it went totally sideways. And looking back, it's like, oh, we missed something about people and how to bring them into the process and get them on board and get them to see that this is a good idea for them as well as for the organization.
Exactly. It's something we can all do better and work on as leaders. And you've got some tools to help us get there. I want to talk a little bit more about that. Your book coming out on March 10th, 2026, just around the corner. I'll give a little sneak peek here, everybody. It's called Emotion Rules, the Science and Practice of Emotional Wisdom. And you have me at hello, as Tom Cruise would say. That title is fantastic, Joshua. And we're going to talk about the book. But before we do that, I want to learn a little bit more about you. We've had a chance to chat just briefly before getting onto this podcast together. But they call me DJ Mike P on this show. And the reason is I love music. It drives what I do. It brings me back to the good old days. If I could turn back time with Cher and sing that song, it would definitely bring me back to the 80s. But how about you? Do you have a type of music or an artist that gets you inspired?
I mean, I'm pretty eclectic. I really loved that Paul Simon Graceland album, and that just turned me on to this whole world of music from South Africa. And there's a group called Ladysmith Black Mambaza, which
yes.
just really fired me up. And but yeah, it's at the moment the song in my head is that Buffalo Springfield song that goes, something's going on around here. What it is ain't exactly clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember the title of it, but yeah, I can see it playing in your head right now.
Totally.
Something's going on around here, Mike.
And we're all losing our minds, but that's okay. We'll hang on to some of this music to inspire us. And the Graceland album, besides the vibe of you were describing with that great African beats, the song "You Can Call Me Al." Remember the video with Chevy Chase and Paul Simon goofing around, and was a classic. It's what I think of when I think of that song. Do 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 do. Come on, Joshua. Do 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 do.
Call me Al.
Yeah. Everybody if you haven't seen that one for a while, look it up. Look it up. Paul Simon, You Can Call Me Al. And with little Chevy Chase. Speaking of Chevy, have you seen the new documentary with him? I haven't watched it all, but there's a new documentary with Chevy Chase, and he wasn't the nicest guy to work with. Maybe he needs some more emotional intelligence. So let's talk about it.
Well, we all do.
This is what my job is here. I have to bring it all together. That's called a professional podcast segue. So if we don't want to be despised by our colleagues, no. Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about how it might apply to my particular audience of FM and workplace leaders, because this show is called the Workplace Innovator podcast. And that's what we'll start with. I want to get your take on the phrase Workplace Innovator. You do a lot of podcasts. Everybody, if you connect with Joshua online, you'll see his newsletter. You'll see a lot of the resources we've talked about already. And you'll see him on many a podcast discussing this EQ angle with all different types of businesses and entrepreneurs and other people. But the Workplace Innovator, you said, hey, I'll be a guest on your show, Mike. What did you think about when you heard you were going to be on the Workplace Innovator podcast? What comes to mind for you?
Well, I think innovation is really about being in that mindset of saying, I'm going to figure stuff out. And I was always that guy who it's like, how do you do this? I don't know, Josh will figure it out. And I experienced that first. My second business that I started when I was a teenager was a residential remodeling business. I became a licensed contractor when I was 17. I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew I could figure it out, and I had good people who helped me figure it out, and I learned. And in that process of learning, I think that is what innovation is. And being willing to say, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to bring, I've got all these different stakeholders. How do I bring them together? I don't know. When we are willing to step into that space of being a learner, and being open to being influenced by people and our young employees, our employees way over there and way over here, and our colleagues and our vendors and our podcast hosts.
Right.
We something changes in our brains, and something changes in our hearts, and something changes in the way we show up, and that learning is contagious. And I think as a leader and as a human being, if I can keep learning till the day I die, I'm it'll be a good thing for me.
Yeah, me too. I tell you what, that is nicely summarizing the philosophy of this show. I do often talk about the need to be a lifelong learner, to go through the difficulty of
Mm.
admitting that you don't have it all together, that I don't have it all together. I'm constantly learning new things. I've been doing this podcast thing for about a decade, and I just admitted on another show the other day that, hey, I still have imposter syndrome. I don't get why they pay me to do this. I'm just trying to, keep that place of humility, a sincere, like this, just thankfulness and gratefulness. And then being willing to admit that you don't have all the answers is very difficult for some of us. And some leaders struggle with that when they're trying to connect with their teams. And I'm not saying we should all come into every meeting and say, "Oh, I'm terrible. You guys don't have any need to respect me or trust me in this, position." That's not the fact. It's more than that. It's about just kind of a position of understanding and empathy, and kind of meeting people where they are. But you tell me, you're the EQ expert. What am I getting right? What am I getting wrong in that scenario?
We have a cultural norms around leadership, and there's these sort of myths or templates of leadership, and you're supposed to look this way, you're supposed to act that way, you're supposed to sound that way. And a lot of times when I'm coaching even very senior leaders, and I'll say, well, why do you do that? Why do you respond that way? How did you, what's going on for you? The answer boils down to, well, that's kind of what I thought I was supposed to do. Right? I'm kind of following this script. Well, hey, is it your script? Like, is this
Yeah,
who you really are? And
expectations
because
come
if
from.
you're not, everyone in the room knows it. Everyone feels it. And you are burning up trust. So I think it's less about like, oh, let me kind of sound like a leader, let me look like a leader, let me follow. I mean, Mike, he's smart. Let me follow what Mike says. No, don't do that. Sorry, Mike. But like let me
I'm fine with it. No, please go on.
let me
You got it
tune
right.
into what's important for me and the people around me. Let me be listening. Let me be getting data. And that data, there's a lot of cognitive data that you're getting, from pricing to specs to structures to whatever time and motion studies that you're doing. That's all really important. There's another kind of data, which is emotional data. And the emotions that you're feeling are shaping what you notice. They're shaping what you think. They're shaping what you decide is important. And every person you encounter, it's the emotions that drive the decision making. And, people will say, like, oh, well, let's just be rational. That's completely irrational. You want to be rational? Okay, let's deal. People are emotional beings. We're social animals. And as emotional beings, we can think, but we need to confront the reality that everything is filtered through emotion. Every decision, every evaluation, every relationship, every idea. So when you go in that meeting and you say, okay, here's the plan, let's do this, understand that the emotions in the room are going to determine whether or not people buy into that plan. Doesn't matter how brilliant it is, if they don't feel trust, if they don't feel that connection with you, if they don't feel the benefit to them, they're resisting.
Really good stuff, Josh. It's in the title of the book, too. It's The Science and Practice of Emotional Wisdom, as your new book talks about. And there are some emotion rules. So it sounds like it's measurable. You can actually, you know, take a snapshot of where you are today as a leader, as an individual contributor, as a part of a team, and say, all right, I can improve in this area by understanding some of the science behind why I do the things I do. I'm always asking this question when I have folks like you on the show. Why do I do what I do, Joshua? And what could I do better? And how can I grow? Because I don't want to be the person who is stubborn and unwilling to change. What will people find that might be helpful to them if they get a copy of your book?
Well, backing up before the book is it is measurable. Emotional intelligence is measurable at an individual level. It's also measurable at scale. And in a lot of organizations that we work with, what we're doing is we're trying to put this data on the dashboard, either about individual competencies. So you can take an emotional intelligence assessment, learn what your strengths and weaknesses are, learn how to develop those. But you can also do that in an organizational context and measure things like trust and figure out how that leadership capability is shaping the felt environment, not just the built environment.
Like
And
that might be the title
people
of this
walk in,
episode.
right? And they go, oh, I like it here. Well, in part, it's like, hey, you got some great furniture. You have some beautiful plants. That's all awesome. But there's something else going on. And again, we've all experienced that. We come into some environments and we can feel like this, I want to be here. And that felt environment is shaped by the individual emotional intelligence. In terms of the book, what I've done is I've taken my last 30 years of work and I've tried to go through what's actually helped me. And I think what I've experienced is that in the last couple of years, the level of complexity and challenge is just beyond. I thought I had done some good preparation of developing my own EQ and IQ, learning how to lead, running a multinational organization, growing year after year. And I thought doing a pretty good job, but I've hit so many walls in the last couple of years, just in terms of my own burnout, my stress level, my team members, people coming to me with challenges that I'm not equipped to deal with. And so I said, okay, if I'm struggling this much, I know a lot of other leaders are. And so the book goes into first the science of emotion, using emotions as data, figuring out what they mean, trying to understand them. And then going into emotions as a source of intelligence. How do you make sense of this and use emotions to help you read the room, figure out what's going on? And then finally, going into emotional wisdom. And I think wisdom is what we have to bring to the table when the path isn't clear, when there is no answer. We need some ability to kind of go, okay, well, I don't know, but I have a sense this is where we're trying to go. This is what really matters. And it turns out that emotions are a key tool for that. And so we're getting the data, we're making sense of it, and then we're using it to build a better future. And that's what emotional wisdom is all about.
Amazing stuff. Really, really good. Joshua, we're out of time, and I just want to ask you one more question before I let you go. This has really been helpful, and I'm sure you can give hours of this type of advice to my audience, but kind of, narrow it down for me. Give me some practical takeaway, some final thought as we all head into the future of the workplace together.
I used to be really afraid of emotions. I would be in a meeting and I could see that somebody was unhappy with something. And I'd be like, oh, I don't want to open that Pandora's box. I literally would say that to a colleague, right?
Out loud.
And
yeah, sure.
what I've learned is that box was already open. Those emotions are in the room. You can pretend they're not, but that doesn't actually solve anything. What surprised me is that acknowledging emotions, often that's all you need to do. And one of the emotion rules in the book is accept to connect. And it's just like answering the phone. Like, hey, the phone is ringing. Do you want to pick it up or not? The emotion is there. And just acknowledging it and saying, wow, I can see there are a lot of feelings in the room. Anyone want to share something that's going on? And don't fix it. Don't solve it. It's not your problem. It's not a bad thing. I'm upset about this. Oh, cool. Thanks for telling me. I appreciate you sharing that. If you want to talk more, let me know. Who's next? That was it. It's so easy. And just accept to connect. Like, take the call. Go, all right, Gotcha. What's next?
So well said. Great, great stuff. The book, everybody, it's called Emotion Rules, The Science and Practice of Emotional Wisdom by Joshua Freedman. Josh, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate this conversation and I've enjoyed it a lot. I hope you have. Thanks for being on the Workplace Innovator podcast.
Thank you, Mike, and have a great day, everyone.
Yes, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope you found something of value in this conversation. If so, please do me a favor and share this episode with a colleague or a friend, anyone who might like to join us as we continue on our journey to encourage and inspire you to be a workplace innovator. Peace out, everybody.